What's up, guys? Zach, By Wicks. So we're going to talk about the sawmill. So tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I have to go to Piedmont and I have to cut a bunch of cedar logs. So I'll bring this sawmill out to the property. I'll cut a bunch of cedar logs. He wants to cut all into 5/4. So 1 inch and 1/4 is what he wants all his logs to be turned into. So I'm going to go out there. I'm going to cut a bunch of cedar logs. After I cut those logs, I need to get back to this unit before 9 o'clock. I don't have access to these units currently, although corporate did approve the access for 24/7. Manager reached out, corporate, they approved it. They don't know how to give me the access on the gates because there's a few options as far as which person has access and which person doesn't. And there's not an option for like 24/7 access. So corporate did approve me to have 24/7 access here, but until all that's situated, I do have to get into this unit before 9 o'clock. So that's kind of a logistical situation. I don't like that. I'm used to having access to my goods and my assets 24/7. So the fact that I have to be in here before 9 o'clock every single day if I want to have access to these goods, the sawmill, the wood, selling the wood, getting ready with the sawmill, then I have to be in here before 9 o'clock. So that's kind of a new logistical situation I have to account for whenever I go out and cut logs for people. So tomorrow I got to go to Piedmont, cut a bunch of cedar logs into 5/4 material. Looking forward to that. Wednesday I have to go to Norman, so I have to take this machine to Norman, and he has quite a few logs for me to cut for him. I'm looking forward to cutting these logs. He actually doesn't want to help at all, which is completely fine with me. He's busy. He asked me if I'm able to just do this. Do I need to help you? I'm like, you don't need to help me. If you help me, it's going to, it will reduce the amount of time I'm at your property. But if you don't help me, that's completely fine. I'm willing to do all the work myself. I'm able to touch every log, roll it on the sawmill, get all the boards cut, put the slabs in a stack, and you can deal with them later on. I don't need any help with the situation. He's completely fine with that. So I'm probably going to be working 8 hours on Wednesday, cutting logs. That job potentially could take 6 hours if he helped me. It might be 5. It might be 4 if he helped me. But I'm doing it 100% by myself. Tomorrow will be kind of the same circumstances. I have a bunch of cedar logs I need to cut. There will be another helper helping me with, the off-bearing of the wood, so that'll be nice. But outside that, I love what I do. Having 2 jobs in a row is fantastic because my truck's 100% ready to cut wood. So all I have to do is back my truck up to this sawmill, pull it out, and go to the location. It's ready to eat wood. Have all the blades in the truck, all my tools in my truck, my chainsaw's in the truck, sawmill's ready to go, a bunch of extra parts for the sawmill, a bunch of blades, a bunch of belts, and everything. So I'm fully prepared for the ventures I have, in the next 36 hours. I gotta cut 2 times, Tuesday and Wednesday I have to cut. It's fantastic because after I cut Tuesday, I'll be fully prepared for Wednesday. I won't have to unload my truck. I can keep it loaded up. I'll go out and venture and go to Norman, cut a bunch of logs, and accomplish those goals. I'll get paid, tomorrow. I'll get paid the next day. So it'll be a fantastic situation. I will say tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I'm doing my second Woodpreneur podcast. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. Talking with, I think her name is Jennifer. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to do that podcast tomorrow at 11 o'clock. After I do that podcast, I will be going to Piedmont. I'll be cutting a bunch of logs for customer, and then I'll get everything situated, and I'll be able to prepare myself to go to Norman the very next day. So probably 50 or so logs I have to cut in the next 2 days. So looking forward to it. It's exciting. I will say the Wood Miser is the best tool I've ever added to my tool bag. This is my second Wood Miser. Anytime I need to go procure or process logs, this has been a very dependable machine. I can bring it out. I'm able to rely on it to produce and able to cut the material that I needed to cut. It does its job. The gasoline engine did a fantastic job before I had the diesel, so I was very thankful for starting out with a lower version of the Wood Miser. And that was an LT40 wide with a gasoline engine. Upgraded it in 2020 when everybody was getting jabbed with the needle. I've never gotten like vaccinated or anything like that, so I've never been restricted. I've been working myself for 17 years, so the wood business took over my other business by choice, not by dollar cents. I actually made more money remodeling houses than I do cutting wood and selling wood for people. So I loved just the process of the gathering of the logs, putting the logs on the sawmill and slicing them up. Every time you slice a log up, you're going to reveal a grain that no one's ever seen before, and that's like really cool to me. I love cutting logs with my sawmills, and after I cut that first slab or that first cut, I'm able to take it off and you reveal this beautiful grain. It's just like, it's an addiction. Like, I love cutting logs. I will say I've cut thousands of logs with the Wood Misers or the Lucas mill that I have. I do have two sawmills. So the Wood Miser is 32.5. The new Wood Miser Supers, I think, cut 34. This one only cuts 32.5, okay? My Lucas mill will cut 76 inches wide, so I bought that machine strictly to cut my own logs. I bought this machine to cut like my own logs. I used to pay people for over 5 years to cut logs, so I would say $20,000 or $30,000 in expenses. I used to pay over like a 5-year stretch for people to cut the logs that I brought to them. I would bring them logs on trailers, and they would have the equipment to take these logs off the trailer. They'd process these logs. I wouldn't know exactly when I was able to get my slabs back. I also didn't know exactly what my cost was going to be whenever I picked up my slabs. Like, are you going to pay $500? You paying $700? You paying $300? What's the cost going to be? So you pay for that cost. You do that hundreds of times, over the span of 5 years. You kind of get an idea of like, why don't you just buy your own sawmill? So like, that's what it is. I bought my own sawmill. It was a no-brainer to me. I purchased it in cash. I also, decided to upgrade it, 3 or 4 years later, and I bought the diesel sawmill. The reason I bought the diesel is because the diesel engine is going to be able to pull through the wood that you cut a lot easier than the gasoline sawmill. The gasoline engine has a lifespan. I think sometimes the gasoline engine is going to cut out at 1,000 hours. So my last gasoline Wood Miser had a little over 500 hours on it. I saw the chance to sell it at a profit, and once I sold it for a profit, it was a no-brainer for me to buy the upgraded version of the LT40, choose the Super, choose the wide, of course, and choose the diesel engine. This machine cost me $41,000. Currently, right now, if I wanted to replace this machine, it would cost me $60,000. If you wanted to buy this machine right now, I'd sell it to you for $58,000. If you wanted to buy this machine for me for $58,000, that'd be fantastic. I'd put the $58,000 in my pocket. The very next day, I would order an LT70. I would put the deposit on the situation. It'd be ready in 6 to 8 weeks. I'd have to go ahead and drop $70,000 or $80,000 on the machine, and I would upgrade this. So if you want to buy this machine, I would love to sell it to you. I wanted to sell this machine for over $55,000. If I can achieve that goal, I have the green light to purchase a better machine. So, I'm not in the market to sell my machine, But if you're watching this video and you desire to have a sawmill that's ready to go and ready to eat logs, I would love to sell you my sawmill right now for $58,000. So I'm going to upgrade this machine at one point in time, and I'm thinking that time's going to be sooner than later. I'm also thinking of putting an order on a machine before I even sell this. So I could put an order on an LT50 or an LT70 wood miser, diesel engine, a few different features that would be fantastic. Put the order in, it's ready. Go ahead and pay for the situation. Have 2 different sawmills. Go ahead and sell the sawmill sooner than later, and have an upgraded version of a sawmill. So this will be my 3rd wood miser. I do desire to upgrade my wood miser to a better machine, and the reason I want to do that is because I just desire to have a better machine. I want to have a machine that has a joystick. I don't have to walk with the machine. I can tell this machine to go up and down the saw rail wherever I want it to go, and I can just do it with a joystick. I do want to have a command setting on this next machine that I purchased, so whenever I pull up to the sawmill location and I'm able to cut logs, I'm not having to walk with this machine every single time. The 2 wood misers that I've owned have been walking sawmills, so they're power fed, but you have to walk with it every single cut. So let's say the largest sawmill job I've done this year, I cut over 500 walnut slabs. So every single slab you have to walk with. So you're having to walk with this machine every single time. It's completely fine. I love getting my steps in. Sawdust sometimes can affect you whenever it comes in your face if you're not able to set up downwind. Sometimes those things are uncontrollable because all the logs are positioned this way. You need to set up like this, and all the sawdust is going to come in your face because the wind is blowing that way. So that's just something you have to deal with. So I do have the desires to upgrade my wood miser from an LT40 to an LT50 or an LT70 with the command controls. I'll be able to control this head of the sawmill. It'll be able to eat wood just from the control of a joystick. So that's something I will be doing in the near future. I'm also going to be building, I'm currently about to start building an 8-foot fence around my property, at my personal property. I want to store this sawmill at my personal property. I also want to store my 24-foot boat at my personal property and my trailer that's currently sitting there right now. So if I'm able to achieve all those goals before the 3rd kid comes, I have my wife's pregnant. So we're having our 3rd kid. I have a boy and I currently have a girl right now. I don't know what this 3rd kid's going to be. We're doing that by choice. So that's the one thing you can have. There's so much anticipation for is it going to be a boy? Is it going to be a girl? I don't care what the child is. I just want a healthy child, and that would just be super fantastic for me. So I obviously prefer a boy. But if I don't get, a boy, I'm completely blessed with this child that, I'm able to receive that's a girl. And, there's many people out there that don't have the ability to have children. So it's a complete blessing whenever another child is born in my family. I don't care what the gender is. I'm just super excited for this next phase in my life, having a party of 5 versus a party of 4. So I love what I do, guys. Thank you so much for subscribing. I have 1,970 subscribers. If you push the like button, you'll have a live video once a week. The last video I did mention, if I don't have at least 10, thumbs up in the video, I'm not going to go live for 2 weeks. Well, it's 15 days later after I said that. Now I'm going live. So if you want a live video every single week, this video needs to get 10 thumbs up. If it doesn't get 10 thumbs up, it's going to be every 2 weeks. And that's just because I have so many things that I can do. Like, there's no monetary value for me to record this video of myself at, I don't even know what time it is. It's 11 something at night. I have to cut wood tomorrow. I have to cut wood the next day. Trailer, truck is ready to go. Sawmill is ready to go. The blade in my truck. Everything is ready to go for this machine to go eat wood. Tomorrow I have a podcast. Second podcast for the Woodpreneur podcast. I'm going to be speaking, I believe her name is Jennifer. I'll be speaking with her tomorrow at 11 o'clock. As soon as I get done with that podcast, I'm looking forward to, going to cut a bunch of cedar logs for this customer. I absolutely love cutting logs for people. I've cut for over 250 people in my state. So if you have any logs in the state of Oklahoma, you reach out to me, 405-562-0707. Reach out to me, simple text message. Hey Zach, I saw your video, blah, 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 blah. I have 5 logs, 3 logs, 10 logs, 7 logs, 20 logs, 50 logs, 100 logs, 200 logs. I don't care how many logs you have. After you call me and I come to your property, you're not going to have any logs left. There's been multiple sawmill setups that I have performed with over 200 logs on location, and after I leave, there's no logs on location. So I'm not afraid of someone telling me they have 60 logs for me to cut. I actually am extremely excited for that. I have a stock load of 15 blades right now. I have 15 brand new blades ready to eat wood. Ready to go. So I have a portion of those sawmill blades in my truck right now. If somebody did inquire about me having to cut 60 or 70 logs for them, I would go ahead and order another batch of blades. Those blades would be at my house in the next 2 or 3 days, and then I would increase my volume of blades from 15 to like 25. And I always am spending all the money, like a lot of the money that I make cutting wood, like I'm always like reinvesting it in the business. I've been working myself for 17 years, so hardship is like inevitable. So like there'll be times where you don't get paid for weeks on end. So let's say like you don't get paid for a week, you don't get paid for 2 weeks, you don't get paid for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Okay, you don't make $1. But during the time you're producing, you're procuring, you're stacking up your inventory, and you're just continuing to grind. Okay? That's what my life's about. Like, there's been many times where like I find so much struggle, like because like you're not making any money, and this isn't necessarily happening like right now in this current season. Okay, I'm extremely blessed. I could not have to work I could stop working and pay for my bills for the next 7 or 8 years and not have to like make any money. So like I'm extremely blessed like financially. So like working really hard, saving every dollar you potentially can save, because like the times are really good. There's been really good times, there's been really bad times. So like all you have to know is that you gotta continue to move forward. You'll have failure. I've failed 20 or 30 times in my life, okay? Through that failure, I see something that I learned during that experience, and I like add it on to like my knowledge. I'm able to like persevere during that experience, and you're able to like overcome the obstacle. So being an entrepreneur, like I've been an entrepreneur for 17 years, small business, okay guys, there's nothing large about my business. This is a very small business. I like it small. My overhead right now as a small business owner is $365 a month. Look, the lights just turned off, okay? It's not because I didn't pay my, monthly payment. It's automatically dropped in my checking. But as far as my overhead expense as a business owner, it's going to be $365. One day in the near future, I'll own a property. I want to buy land right now in cash. I want to build a house right now in cash. Okay, I want to do those things. I have some, I refrain from doing those things right now because I'm chilling in my current residence because I don't necessarily think it's a perfect time to sell. and I don't think it's a perfect time to buy right now. So I currently have a residence I've been living in for 8 years. Me and my wife want to sell the property, okay? So we want to sell our property. We have over $100,000+ in equity in this property. That's after realtor fees. So like, real estate has been my biggest investment and largest source of cash flow in my life. So like I said, I've been working myself for 17 years. You buy a house, you fix it up, you sell it. I've done that a few times. This is our third house. You buy a house, fix it up, you sell it. You buy a different house, fix it up, sell it. You buy a different house, fix it up, sell it. So like, I love buying houses, fixing them up, and selling them. One day, this will be our largest return on a real estate investment in my life, and I'm going to kind of like, use all those funds to, do the things that I truly desire, and that's having 2 to 3 acres of land, having a shop, having a house, having neighbors close by, but not super close. I don't want my house 15 feet from another property. I do not want the brick of my house to be 15 or 20 or 30 feet from another property. I want the space to grow. So if I had this space to grow, if I could eliminate this $365 a month payment on this storage unit, I feel like that would be like a positive thing for me to do. Because I also want to purchase the skid steer in cash. I could purchase the skid steer right now in cash if I wanted to. I could click a button, I could have it delivered to my house right now. Well, I have a certain amount of space for this skid steer to operate, and I have a certain amount of space for this skid steer to put slabs in. It doesn't make sense for me to buy a skid steer right now. It makes sense for me to continue to grind, continue to cut wood for people like I always do, continue to grind, just continue to grind up and save up, and there will be a time when I'm going to go unleash a lot of cash on a property. And this property is going to fulfill all the desires that I have. And these desires are going to be the amount of space for me to have, 30 or 40 or 100 different logs, have, 1,000 or 10,000 different slabs just stacked up, having a building that has, a kiln in it, and I could, reduce the amount of, dry time on my material. I can throw this material in a kiln that I, make, the DH kiln. This material is able to dry in a matter of weeks versus a matter of years. I'm able to dry the material, have a larger kind of influx of, dry material. Like currently right now, I'm only sitting on like 60 or 70 slabs right now that are dry in season. Well, I want to be sitting on like 3,000 or 4,000 slabs that are dry season. I also want to have like 10 or 15,000 different slabs that are just in like stickers, just chilling. Okay, those are the desires that I have. How am I going to make that happen? It's going to be consistently producing, consistently moving forward. You gotta consistently move forward. I compare myself to a turtle. I'm consistently moving forward. You might see myself as a really small business. I see myself as a business that has spent $0 on marketing, $0 on incurring 50,000 plus followers on Instagram, having almost 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, thousands of different followers on different media platforms and stuff like that. So like just like $0 have been in this business. All the content that I create is just like just pushing out material that I like this is what I do. I cut logs for people. I've cut thousands of different logs for people. So like, I'm making a video of the sawmill going through a different log, goes through it 3 different times. Sometimes I sit up on a tripod, goes through. Sometimes I put like a 3 or 4x speed on it, so it's kind of like a time lapse speed. I'll throw like a trending audio on it, and people like it. Sometimes people don't like it, and that's kind of what I do. Like I cut logs for people. That's all I do. Cut logs, sell logs for people, and I love it. So I have to cut quite a few logs tomorrow. I gotta cut quite a few logs Wednesday. I'm due for a live video on YouTube, so this is the live video on YouTube, and I need to make a live video at least once or twice a week. If this video gets 10 thumbs up, I will post a video in 7 days. If it doesn't get 10 thumbs up, I'm gonna post a video in 2 weeks. So God bless you guys. Keep grinding. This is all I do. I love what I do. I want to eventually sell this wood miser. I'm gonna buy a better wood miser, and until that point, I'm gonna continue to use what I have, and that's this wood miser, and it can achieve all the goals that I want it to achieve. And I'm ready to grind. I'm gonna be leaving this unit in like 25 minutes. I have a few things I need to load up in the on the sawmill. I actually need to pull this sawmill out. I need to raise the head up. I need to bring it to the copper strip that's in the front of the sawmill. I need to test some hydraulics. I actually think I might need to open up the hydraulic box in the front of this sawmill and adjust some of the paddles. So sometimes there's some paddles in there, like they need some adjusting. So hydraulics are pretty tricky. I kind of know what I'm doing as far as the paddles going. If a hydraulic line was to break, or if there was a major leak, I would take the hydraulic line to a Napa or O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and they would fix the situation for me. So I don't have the ability to recrimp or do any hydraulic lines on this machine. But as far as like the maintenance and majority of all the upkeep on the machine, the alignments, just oil changes, just everything, it's done. It's gonna be done by me. There's the closest wood miser is gonna be 4.5 hours away. So am I gonna go spend 4.5 hours driving there, driving back, spend $500 to $1,000 for them to do whatever you desire for them to do? Or are you gonna, kind of figure out what's going on with this sawmill? So for the past, I've been pulling off wood slabs off of a wood miser for over 14, maybe 15 years, okay? It took, I would say 4 or 5 years before I bought my own sawmills, okay? There's many years where I saw different operators of a wood miser, they're cutting the logs, and you're like, man, why don't they do this, or why don't they do that? Well, you have no control of that, but you ask those questions to yourself whenever you saw other people, processing your logs, and you just decided, like, man, I feel like I could do that myself, and that's what I've done. I love what I do. Very small business. There's times where I make $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 a month. The sale of wood, cutting of the wood miser. And there's times where you make a few $1,000s. Okay, so ultimately you have to continue to grind. You can't quit. I don't consider like quit or like it's like not an option. Quitting as an entrepreneur isn't an option for me. So I gotta continue to grind. God bless you guys. Keep grinding. If you have any desires to buy a wood miser and you really want a wood miser, you follow me or you subscribe to this channel because you really want a wood miser. Well, I would recommend it, assuming you had a tractor or a skid steer, I would recommend the LT15Y. Okay, ideally you'd be able to get the power feed option. If you got an LT15Y, you'd be able to cut 34 inches wide. Okay, well, if you're able to cut 34 inches wide, that's wider than I can cut. I can only cut 32.5. Now, you only have a few different logs, so you're able to, cut those logs, and you have the tractor and the supplemental equipment to achieve your goals. Get an LT15Y, $10,000+ you'd be set and ready to go. You'd be able to cut wood. Order your blades from Jerry's Resharp. I used to order blades for 5+ years from wood misers. So I used to get the double hard, or the silver tips, or whatever blade you want to get for the wood miser, you can get it from wood miser. 3 or so years ago, I just found that Jerry's Resharp was the best blade in the industry. So I can spend $27 a blade, and this blade will cut longer than a Wood-Mizer blade. This blade will produce flatter cuts than a Wood-Mizer blade, and this blade will ultimately, give me better results than a Wood-Mizer blade. So for the past 3 years, Jerry's Resharp is the only blade that I use with this machine. It's going to be the Ripper 37 with a 10-degree blade. I do have some 4-degree blades, and I have some 7-degree blades, depending upon the species and what I'm trying to process for the customer or process for myself. I'm typically cutting primarily walnut. 99% of the time, whenever I'm procuring wood, only thing that's in here staying out that's dry is going to be walnut. I have 400 or 500 walnut slabs right now just sitting in stickers. So the only thing I procure is walnut, and that's going to be with a 10-degree blade from Jerry's Resharp. There's times whenever I need to cut pecan. Well, I like to cut 7-degree blades for pecan. I think this 7-degree blade cuts a really nice flat cut. You can cut multiple logs with the 7-degree blade, 1.25 inches. Look, the light's just turned off. I'll turn it back on. Just move over here and move back. But anyways, guys, I had to do a live video. You do a live video and let me know what you're going to talk about. So this is just strictly, my life. This is all I do. I cut wood. The Wood-Mizer is a big part of my life. I will say this is the golden goose of the family, because whenever I take it out, I'm typically making like $1,000. Tomorrow I'm gonna make like around $1,000 cutting. I'm not starting until 1. Okay. The next day I'm gonna make over $1,000 because I'm gonna be cutting all day long. I actually have to cut a few trees down for customers. So I absolutely love the next 2 days that are ahead of me. I absolutely love the goals and the workloads that are like ahead of me. I strive to be prepared for any obstacle that comes in my way. And these like sawmill jobs, they're ahead of me. I have 2 different sawmill jobs in the next 36 hours. I'm fully prepared to achieve my goals. I'm going to cut all their logs. I'm going to cut all their logs in Norman. I'm going to leave property. Customers are going to be extremely happy, like they typically are. Cut for over 250 people in the state. I'll come home and I'll hang out with family. The most rewarding thing that I will say that I have as a business owner of 17 years is going to be the freedom of time. Okay, well, I'm sweating pretty bad right now. I can take my kids to school every single day. I take my kids to school every single day, and I typically pick them up from school every single day. I don't have someone telling me I have to do this or I have to do that. I need to go to Texas, or I need to go to Louisiana. I don't have any of those things. I don't have anybody telling me what to do. The only person I have telling me what to do is going to be my wife. Okay, she tells me something. She's like, I need this, blah, blah, blah. It's done. The only person that tells me what to do in my life is going to be my wife. And I love her telling me what I need to do for her, because it's just a goal. She tells me, I want this or I want that. It's like, so you like perform, you make it happen. You satisfy the needs of your wife, make sure your family's happy, make sure you're present as a father. I'm not missing baseball games. I'm not going to miss the dance recital or the acting, play or whatever the situation is. I have the freedom of time to do whatever I desire to do. So that's the biggest blessing I have in my life. Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior of my life. I've been a follower of Jesus for over 10 years. So I will say there's times where I'm like, whoa, man, where's my next dollar going to come from? Well, all things are possible through Christ. You kind of like set that in your heart and just know that, and know that the Lord will always provide. So it's like, okay, so the Lord will provide. So why do I need to worry where my next dollar is going to come from if the Lord always provides? All things are possible through Christ. So if you have a desire to start your own business, or you want to work towards this goal, like all things are possible. Grind towards that goal. I will 100% tell you that your goals won't be achieved, just by like thinking about them. You actively have to pursue every single day, constantly grinding through all the obstacles that you might face as a new business owner. You gotta constantly grind through those things, overcome your obstacles. After you overcome your obstacles, you're gonna see like fruits of your labor. You're gonna be like, oh man, I got this client, or this is coming through, or I got this opportunity. You just keep grinding through all those things, guys. So that's my 2 cents for the night. What I believe is Monday night right now. I don't even keep track of the days. I literally have the only two things on my schedule right now are going to be the Sawmill job that I have at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and then the Sawmill job that I have the very following day. I have 3 or 4 different people that are currently actively pursuing like cutting down trees on their property. They're trying to get their logs ready for me. They're not scheduled dates because they're not like ready to go. They're not going to call me until they're like, hey man, I got all my logs ready to go, I got my trees cut down, I'm ready for you to come on my property. And and they call me, I tell them like, oh hey, November 3rd, works perfectly, and I blah blah blah. I put a date and a time on it. I come to the property at that date and time, and I process all their wood. They pay me, I leave, I process it exactly how they want. They want 2-inch material, 5-quarter material, 6-quarter material, 10-quarter, 12-quarter, however they want it. I cut it, quarter solid material, whatever you want. I cut the material, I leave your property, you pay me, you have your material. I don't have to touch the material ever again in my life. That's the greatest thing about this, is because I bought these machines to procure my own material. So whenever I procure my own material, I'm touching this material. Whenever I cut it, I'm touching it. When it goes in the stacks, I gotta move it from a stack to another stack. I'm touching the material. I bought the sawmills for my own procurement, okay? The compliment and then like the added service is like, many people know that you can cut logs and they reach out to you and you need to cut their logs and you cut their logs. So like, that's like the compliment of like my business. Like I bought my sawmills for myself. Like I don't need anybody to pay me to cut their logs. It just so happens that many people have used me to cut their log. I've cut for over 15 different people in my state. So in my state, 15 different people that have a sawmill, okay? They have a wood miser, they have a Woodlands mill, they have a Lucas mill. They have whatever mill you want to, name. They have that mill. They cut a couple logs a day. They cut a couple logs a month, a couple logs a year. Well, guess what? They just got their hands on many logs. They don't see how they can process all these logs. Well, they reach out to me. I'll cut 40 or 50 logs in a day. So, I love what I do. God bless you guys. Keep grinding. I'm looking forward to cutting logs tomorrow, cutting logs the next day. I have many logs in the woods that I need to cut for myself. A little funny story. So I went into the woods, I would say 6 or 7 days ago. Okay, so I went into the woods fully prepared to cut 3 or 4 trees out. I knew exactly the trees that I was going to cut out. Whenever I came to the property, I actually got there around 9 o'clock. So it was a little late for me to be on property at 9 o'clock. Okay. It was a very long night. I was processing wood the day before. Anyway, so I came to the property, and after I saw these trees, and they're degraded trees, they need to be cut out. I saw the workloads that were in front of them that needed to be done for me to actually cut these trees out, put them on the ground, slice them up. I saw all the workloads. I'm very good at coming onto a property, knowing what it's gonna take to achieve your goals. I have been in business for 17 years, so I will kind of summarize. People come to me. There's over 5,000 plus people, first and last name, saved in that phone. People come to me with a problem. I come to them with a solution. I solve their problems and they pay me, okay? That is a simplified version of my life. People have problems. I solve their problems with whatever it is. Anything you name in a house, I've pretty much done. And the wood miser and the sawmill business and the procurement of wood took over that by choice. I made so much more money remodeling houses and being tied up on jobs for weeks on end than I currently do right now. So it wasn't necessarily a financial decision that I made to make the most dollars in my career. It was kind of like a passion thing. I just love cutting logs. So people, see that. People see that I cut logs, and they just reach out to me, quite often, and they need me to cut their logs. I love cutting logs for people. It's $150 an hour. There's a setup fee that's going to be involved. I changed my prices. I was 100% firm on $100 an hour for 6+ years. Okay, 6 years. I saw so many different increases in price, from blades to gasoline, to the price of the sawmill, to this or that, or the chainsaw, or the storage unit. I saw so many different increases in price for 6+ years. I held firm at the $100 an hour. I was cutting at the $100 an hour price point. This year, I increased my price from $150. I haven't had any pushback on the price increase. I charge $150 an hour to cut your logs. If you have logs in the state, I charge $150 an hour. I don't have any pushback. If you're gonna cut them, that's great. If you want to choose, X, Y, and Z that has a woodlands mill, or has this, that, or the other, choose them. Go ahead and do that. I've had many customers that have used other sawyers to cut their logs, and they're consistently using me now. What does that tell you? I'm not trying to boast, brag, be prideful. Just saying that hard work, dedication through time pays off. So I love exactly where I'm at right now. In a position where I'm about to build a structure for this sawmill to live at my house, and it's gonna be fantastic because it's gonna free up so much space for this unit. I plan to keep this unit forever. I pay $365 a month to bring any customer in the country to my unit. And they buy wood for me. They might need to come here at whatever time it is. I'm able to accommodate them because we're able to communicate your needs and your desires. I'm able to communicate with you punctually. I'm able to communicate a few minutes later. Most people reach out to me. Okay, most people reach out. You're probably gonna have a response within a few minutes of reaching out to me. Okay, I like to be on top of it. The most important thing for me, whenever a customer reaches out to me with kind of a goal or a need or a want, is show them that I care about them. Show them I'm here. What do you need? And try to be the best. Try to accommodate them the best you can. So I love what I do. God bless you guys. Keep grinding. And this is a wood miser. It cuts logs. I love cutting logs. Majority of the time, 90% of the time, whenever I'm cutting logs with this sawmill, there's gonna be no service. There's no way for me to connect live. There's no way for me to connect live and show you what I'm doing. I will also say I don't do much editing with my business. I don't spend much time editing videos, getting things situated. I do have thousands of videos, a bunch of content I could plug together or recycle and plug. I try to make some fancy videos. I don't do that. It's live videos. There's short clips, and if you want to see more videos of the sawmill in action, I will say there's thousands of videos of this wood miser cutting logs on Wood by Wicks on Instagram. That's kind of where I throw a majority of all my content. So God bless you guys. Keep grinding. Life goes off every 15 minutes, and yeah. Another day. As far as wood goes, this is this has been cut for over 2 years. Whenever I cut wood down, look. So look, over here sliding on me. So I'm gonna put my face cut in here every single time. This wasn't a tree. Okay, this is a branch of a larger tree. So I'm going to put my face cut in here. After I put my face cut in every single tree, so I have trees that need to be cut down this week. So every single tree cut down without skipping a beat is going to be, I'm going to put my face cut in there. I'm going to plunge cut this tree. I'm going to come in with my Sawmill angle. I'm going to be 100% ready to go. I'm going to come in here and bore cut this tree out. Okay, bore cut. I don't care what the diameter of the tree is. I'm going to bore cut these trees. After I bore cut the tree, I'm going to make sure my hinge is proper, depending upon the diameter of the tree. After I bore cut the tree, I'm going to bore cut it. Okay, I'm going to place some wedges in there strategically. After I bore cut that tree, everything's severed. This is cut out. Guess what? I have a trigger. This is my trigger. This is my back strap. I don't care what you want to call it. This is my trigger. Whenever I eat all this wood, this tree is going to fall wherever I tell it to go. So that's how I got trees down. It takes 3 or 4 times the effort, and just takes 3 or 4 times, filming it. I do have many videos on YouTube showing me, cutting the trees down, bore cutting trees and stuff like that. But as far as having lots of edited videos of kind of the process, I'm kind of lacking there. So I do potentially want to figure out how I can take a bunch of content and make it into like a video where it kind of tells a story. So I haven't got to that point yet. I don't spend any money on my business. I literally just grind, cut wood for people, sell wood, cut wood for myself, and grind. There's like times where you wake up on a Monday morning, you don't have a boss. You haven't had a boss for 17 years. What are you gonna do on a Monday morning? You gonna sleep in? Well, I don't like to sleep in. I like to actively, constantly produce. I like to just continue to move forward. Grass needs to be cut. Just continue to move forward with the goals that you have. There's so many different things that need to be accomplished, and those aren't going to happen just magically thinking about them. So you got to continue to persevere through all the things that you might encounter as a business owner. God bless you guys. Keep grinding. I'm going to end this video. Let's go. Love you guys. Jesus Christ is Lord.